yoga practice today. I'm going to be leading you through a yoga class where we'll be focusing on the second chakra, the Svadisthana chakra. This is the chakra of movement, of flow, of fluidity. It relates to the moon, to yin. We'll be looking at some poses that are actually named after the moon. And I'll be telling you much more about it towards the end of the sequence when we're in our contrasting poses, in seated poses. We have more time for you to listen. But for now, let's get up and do some fluid movement leading up to Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. So please come to hands and knees. Index fingers pointing forwards. Round your back, coming into cat pose, just lengthening the muscles that run down the sides of your back, and even tuck your chin in so you lengthen the muscles on the back of your neck. Press your toenails down into the floor. And then coming into a back bend, raise your chin, lift up your sitting bones. Keep your arms just as strong and as straight as they were before. And as you keep the back bend, tuck your toes under, come into a bent kneed, downward facing dog. Keep your knees bent. You may be very tempted to straighten them at the offset, but push your hands forward, lengthen your spine, and keep lifting up your sitting bones like you were doing when your knees were on the floor. Now begin to straighten your legs and squeeze your thighs to facilitate a nice stretch on the backs of your legs. You probably feel it behind your knees here. Now the Svadhisthana chakra, the second chakra, this wonderful orange sphere, this vortex that assimilates prana, collects it, and sends it back out into the body. This is located in between your tailbone and your navel. It's kind of at the area where your womb is as a woman, just the lower pelvic area for all of us. So we're going to be doing quite a few poses today that will help the flow of prana to and from this chakra and help to align it and make it spin in a nice even way and bring our awareness to it as well. So please here, move your hips over to the left, starting to bring some movement and liquidity into the pelvis. And then move your hips over to the right, and you're obviously feeling this in the backs of your legs as well. Go back over to the left, and then to the right. And now back to center. Bend your knees and look up, look in between your thumbs, and walk your feet to the top of the mat. When you get here, make sure that they're hip width apart and raise your chest and look up. Lift up your sitting bones, keep squeezing your legs, and fold forward to Uttanasana, standing forward fold. Push your fingers into the floor. Bend your knees, bring your arms out to the side, come up to standing, bring your hands together and down in towards your heart. Inhale, bring your arms out to the side and up again, look up, hands together. Exhale, fold, hands down by your side, touch the floor. Please bend your knees as you need to. Inhale, raise your chest, look up. Now as you exhale, step just your left foot back. We're going to be looking at Chandra Namaskar, salutation to the moon. Bring your back knee down and bring your arms out to the side and up to come into this low lunge, Untitled. Keep your hands separate and look forward, or look up at your hands and bring them together. We looked at this pose a lot in our sequence last week when we were looking at Hanumanasana. So familiar territory for those who usually follow my classes. Now look forwards, separate your hands, look down and touch down. Step your back foot forward, so pick up the knee and come up to the top of the mat again. Raise your chest, look up. Exhale, fold. Now bend your knees and step your right foot back to the back of the mat. Bring the back knee down. Again, arms out to the side. If you want to keep your hands on your hips, please do. Squeeze your bottom, whatever you're doing, and either look forwards with your arms apart or raise your chin, hands together for Ardha Namaskar in Anjaneyasana, this lovely low lunge. Now look forward, separate your hands, touch down. Now pick up your back knee, but step the front foot back this time, so you're coming into plank. Bring your knees down to the floor. Now come all the way down. Then raise your chest and come up into cobra. Squeeze your legs together. Go back to downward facing dog. Tuck your toes under. Push the floor away and press back. Really lift up your sitting bones to get some good length in the backs of your legs. This will prepare you well for half moon, which we'll be doing soon. Now put a little bend in your knees and look forwards and either walk or step your right foot and then your left to the top of the mat. Raise your chest, look up and fold to Uttanasana. Keep squeezing your legs. To come to standing, bend your knees, sweep your arms out to the side, come up. Look at your hands as you bring them together and draw your hands down into your heart, into Anjali Mudra. Inhale, bring your arms out to the side and up again, hands together, look up. Bend your knees, exhale and fold. Inhale, raise your chest, look up. Now same as before, step just your left foot to the back of the mat. Bring your back knee down. You can keep your hands on the floor here if you want to, or bring your hands onto your hips, or bring your arms all the way up, and possibly hands together as you look up. Separate your hands, look down, touch down, step that back foot forward again, pick up the knee, step up, raise your chest, look forwards, exhale, fold. Bend both of your knees and step the right foot back. Again, option to keep your fingers on the floor, bring the back knee down, or bring your arms all the way up, hands together. So you've got choices here, but keep squeezing your bottoms and keep your legs straight and strong. If your hands are together, look forward, separate your hands, touch down, and step that front foot back, coming into plank. Bring your knees down to the floor. Chaturanga Dandasana, pick up your feet, cross your ankles this time, come part way down. Now come all the way down, bring the tops of your feet to the floor, curl up into Cobra. So we're doing some little variations here, adding some things in. Now we're going to change this back bend, come halfway down, and then bend your knees, showing the soles of your feet to the ceiling as best you can. Keep your chest low, or as you push your hands strongly into the floor, curl your chest up. So we're really opening up the front of the hips here. This is a hard pose here, so please feel free to keep your legs straight with your feet on the floor if you need to. Then do straighten your legs. Come into downward facing dog. Tuck your toes under, push the floor away, and press back. Lengthen out the lower back here, really push the tailbone away from your fingers. Try and create a longer spine, a taller you. Make your breathing more conscious to yourself. Lengthen your inhalations and exhalations. Smooth them out. Always breathing in and out through your nose, unless you've got a heavy cold. Now, as you inhale, put a little bend in your knees and look forward. Step your left foot, then your right, or walk forward to the top of the mat. Raise your chest, extend your spine, look up. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees, bring your arms out to the side, come all the way up. Bring your hands together again, and then down into the center of your heart. Now turn so that you can see me, if you can't already, and bring your hands onto your hips. Bring your right leg straight out to the side, so don't bend the knee, and look at your foot and make sure your toes are really pointing forward. So you're kind of leading with the outside edge of the heel here as the big toe points straight ahead. Then touch the foot down, but don't bring it next to the other foot, just touch it down to the mat. And then bring it up again. So you feel the entire outside of your right hip really toning. Bring it back down again. And then one more time, bring it up. Keep this right leg really strong as well. Sorry, your left leg. I'm not mirroring you, I'm mirroring you. And then bring that leg down and bring your feet together. Let's do the other side. Pick up the left leg. And again, just look at it and make sure the toes are really pointing forwards. There's a tendency for them to turn up towards the ceiling. So straight forwards, leading with the outer heel. Draw your navel in. Now bring the foot down. Inhale as you bring the leg up, and again just pause here for a moment as you squeeze your bottom both sides and keep the right side of your body really strong. Bring your foot down, and then one more time come up, and then down. Good, now widen your feet, and press down really firmly through the outside edges of your feet, so you're lengthening the outer ankles. Bring your hands onto your hips and raise your chest. Draw your shoulders back. Now fold forward, walking your hands to the floor and forward, so that you're coming into downward facing dog with really wide feet. Your feet are really far apart from each other, but your upper body is in that more conventional downward facing dog shape. So let your head hang, squeeze your legs strong. Stay here for a couple more smooth, even breaths. And then walk your hands back and straighten your elbows. So your hands are underneath your shoulders. Keep lifting up your sitting bones, keep lengthening the backs of your legs. Coming into a twist, bring your right hand right underneath your nose, bring your left arm out to the side. And as you push your right hand into the floor, turn around your belly, twisting. And then see if you can slightly lean back, pull your ears back, and possibly look up at your top hand if your neck is feeling okay. As you reach up with that top hand, piercing the ceiling. Squeeze your legs, push your feet down so you're earthing down as you're rising up and opening. Firm your abs a lot. Now if you're looking up, look down. Undo the twist, bring your left hand down, place it where the right hand is, and we'll do this on the other side. So bring your right arm up and turn. Make sure that your feet are pressing down evenly throughout the soles. So you imagine the feet have four corners, press them down with a lot of strength. The foundation of the pose is really important. Then you can really rotate around your spine, draw your navel in, push that left hand down and reach the right hand up. Maybe look up a bit more. Now look down and bring your right hand down and walk your hands back even further. So now your fingernails and toenails line up. Bring your hands down to the floor as much as you can. Maybe the heels of your hands can come down as you fold forward. Really draw your navel into your spine so you're toning across your lower belly. And press your feet down as you lift your sitting bones up. Now raise your chest, look up, look forward, walk your hands slightly forward here. Bend your knees, bring your hands to your hips and hinge up to standing as you heel toe your feet together. Bring your hands down by your sides. Now bring your arms ahead of you, bend your knees and come down into a squat, all the way down. Bring your hands down to the floor and your knees down. And walk your feet and your knees over towards the right here a little bit as you bring your left leg out to the side. Now press your back toenails down. So again, that foundation, that earthing is there. Bring your right fingertips down to the floor. Try and make sure that your hands, your knee and your foot are in a straight line here. And that the left foot, the toes are pointing forwards again. Bring your left hand onto your left hip and then come completely flat onto your right palm. Now from here, peel the little toe edge of your left foot off the floor and keep looking at that foot as you bring that leg up off the floor, bringing that leg more or less parallel as well. Now keep moving your right hip forwards and extend your left arm up towards the ceiling. As you stretch your arms, so really push the right hand down, reach the left arm up, and then have a sneaky look at your left foot and make sure that the outside edge, the little toe edge of your foot, is parallel to the ceiling. So raise up the outer heel a little bit higher. 3, tone across your belly. 2, possibly look at your top hand. 1, it might mess things up a bit, but do it anyway, have a go. Now bring your top hand onto your hip, bring that leg down. Push yourself up again and bring your knees together and go to the other side. So we're obviously really toning the outside of the hip here. I'm sure you feel it. Bring your left fingertips down to the floor and extend your right leg. Again, try and get the toes pointing forwards. Keep your right hand on your hip to begin with. Now really bring your navel into your spine. Slightly lean back here. And as you press your back toenails down into the floor, pick up your right leg. Try not to collapse your right shoulder and right chest down to the floor. Really try and raise the left side up like you're shining a moonbeam of light up to the ceiling from the left side of your chest. Quick look at that right foot. Make sure that the outside edge, the little toe edge, is a bit more parallel to the ceiling. Then extend your right hand and then look up, possibly towards that top hand. I'm on my fingertips here with my left hand. I'm going to flatten my hand to the floor because it's more comfortable. You choose to do with that hand as you want. 3, but keep awareness in this right leg. Keep turning the inner heel up towards the ceiling. 2, firm across your belly. 1, bring your hand down, bring everything down, bring your knee to the floor, your knees together, and then come to downward facing dog. So we're back to symmetry again. A little bit of relief here as you pick up your knees, press back. Now, pedal your down dog. So bend your right knee and press the left heel down to the floor. Even let your pelvis swing a little out to the left. Let your bottom move to the left side of your mat. And do the other side. Straighten your right leg, bend the left leg, move your bottom over to the right. And then again, one more time, that first side. Strong arms, tone your belly, change sides. Straighten the right leg, bend the left knee. Now come into a normal down dog, so straighten that left leg out again. Now bring your feet together and raise your right leg behind you for 3-legged dog. Let the left heel drop, really lengthen the left back leg and squeeze your left buttock in. Then bring your right knee to your nose, your thigh to your chest, and step your foot forward in between your hands. Bring your back knee down. Now stay here. We're just opening up the front of the hip a little bit more. And I also want you to be really aware of stability. So squeeze that right buttock in. Very strong work going on around the pelvis today, all around the right butt cheek. Now pick up your back knee and go back to downward facing dog. So step that back leg back. Bring your feet together again and raise your left leg behind you. Again, squeeze the right buttock in really strongly. Don't worry too much about what the left leg is doing, but try not to turn your belly and chest to the left. Now bring your thigh towards your chest, come more into a plank feeling, move your heart forwards, and then step your left foot in between your hands. Bring your back knee down. Squeeze the left buttock in. Slightly drag that back knee forwards. Keep looking down at the mat. We're still sort of earthing down. Very aware that the second chakra is one of the very low ones, grounding, even though we are becoming more fluid. And be very aware of all the sensations going on in your body here. Don't push it too hard. You don't want pain, but you don't want to run away from discomfort. Go back to downward facing dog. Pick up the knee and step back. Now bring your feet together. This time, Pigeon Prep. Bring your right knee behind your right wrist. And bring your back knee down. We're not going to come into a big forward fold here. We're going to stay quite upright. As you bring your back knee and your back foot back a little bit, squeeze your knees towards each other. Stay here, arms pretty much straight. Raise your heart. So we're doing a back bend, really opening up the left side of your pelvis, the front bit. Now we're going to change all of this. Bring your right hand more out to the right and bring your right buttock completely down to the floor. Bring your right hand even further out to the right and lean onto it. Bend that elbow and then bend your left knee and reach around with your left hand and grab the foot or the front of your ankle. Now, feel free, please, to drop your chest down here if you need to. If you're feeling that this is a really big stretch and you're aware that this discomfort is already enough. But if you have a bit more space here, raise your heart and turn your chest and your lower belly up towards the ceiling. As you come into more of a back bend, maybe even draw your heel in a little bit more towards the outside of your left buttock. It's a big thigh stretch here. Then release that leg. Come back into that first position. So both hands on the floor just ahead of that knee. Tuck your back toes under so that you can now go back to downward facing dog. So pick up your entire right leg and step back. Bring your feet together again. Lift up your sitting bones and press your heels down. Then bring your left knee behind your left wrist. Bring your back knee down, back toenails down, move back a little bit more. Raise your heart, push your hands forward, and move your right hip point forward. So you're sort of squaring your hips to the front of your mat, as you're also squaring your belly and your chest. Then bring your bring your left buttock down towards the floor. Bring your left hand way over to the left, so you've got something to lean on. Bend that right knee, grab the foot or the front of the ankle, and then turn your chest up towards the ceiling to the level that suits you. As you push your left foot down into the floor, maybe open up a little bit more. If you're pretty flexible here, you could even bring this back knee back a little bit more, but please, again, work within your limits. Again, this Svadisthana chakra is about being very aware of your feelings. In fact, that is the verb for this chakra, to feel. How are you feeling here? Is it too much? If it is, then don't run away from the discomfort, but also don't push too far into pain and where you might be doing some damage. Release that back leg, go back into that first position. Tuck your back toes under, go back to downward facing dog. Walk your hands now all the way back towards your feet. Stay here in standing forward fold, squeezing your legs. Bend your knees, bring your hands to your hips and hinge up to standing as you then come into a wide stance, like we did earlier, but you're going to stay upright. Bring your arms up. Press your hands away from each other really strongly. Then turn your palms up towards the ceiling. Look at your arms and you'll see that your inner elbow creases are facing up. Keep that, but turn your palms down. Stretch your hands away from each other. Look at your right foot. Turn it out to the short edge of your mat. Coming to warrior two, bend your right knee. Now really straighten your back leg here. And bring that right buttock under and really press your right buttock in so that you open up your hips even more. Keep your arms like this. What you're doing with your legs is this. You're pulling your legs back. Good. Now, side angle pose. This is a variation here. Bend your right elbow. Rest the arm on your leg. Turn your back palm up and then rainbow your arm. So you really lengthen that left side of your body. The arm just beside the ear. Now turn your chest a little bit more up towards the ceiling and even look up. Don't put too much weight here in that right arm. Your abs are doing all the work here. Come back to warrior two. How's that leg? Straighten your right leg. Bring your hands to your hips. Turn the right toes forward and turn the left toes out. Bring your arms up again. Turn your palms up again. Keep the inner elbow creases pointing up to the ceiling and turn your wrists and your hands down. Stretch your arms. Bend the left knee. Have a quick look to make sure the knee is going over the middle toe. Then straighten your back leg and really push down through the back outer heel. Now you've established your legs, look over your left hand. Maybe come a little bit lower here and keep moving your legs back behind you. Side angle pose, Parsvakonasana. Bend the left elbow, lightly rest the forearm, turn your right palm up, and again, bring it over the side of your ear as you stretch the entire right side of your body. Turn your chest up towards the ceiling a little bit more. So use your abs, and very similar in the way that when we were doing that big wide-footed twist. So rotate around your spine here. Now come back into warrior two, so the legs stay the same, but you bring your torso up. Bring your hands to your hips, straighten your leg, turn your toes forward, and then heel toe your feet together and go to the back of your mat. Step your left foot forward, half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. Turn your left toes out and bring your hands onto your hips. Bend both of your knees, both of them. So you're really lowering the center of gravity and opening up your hips a bit here. Keep your left hand on your hip and bring your hand into this position. Now, transfer your weight more forward onto that front leg and then slowly bring your fingertips down towards the floor. Pause here for a moment. Now keep those front toes, the left toes pointing straight ahead. Then start to pick up your back leg Now, if your front knee stays bent, that's fine. But if you can bring it straighter, do. And possibly that other leg can come up. Now try and keep the outside edge, the little toe edge of that right foot that's behind you, parallel to the ceiling, and separate the toes. Now begin to turn your chest towards the right. Bring the ribs under. Keep your hand on your hip or shoot your arm up to the ceiling and really stretch your hands away from each other. 3. Possibly look at the top hand. 2. That might ruin everything, but maybe just test it a bit. 1. Now we're going to reverse the whole process. Bring your top hand onto your hip. Look down at the floor if you're not already. Bend the left knee deeply. Bring your ribs onto that thigh. Step back, pick up your hand, and come all the way up. Good. So that was your left foot forward. Sorry if I didn't get the mirror imaging good. You stay where you are. I'm going to step my right foot forward. You too. Turn the other foot out. Bring your hands to your hips and bend your knees. Transfer more weight onto that front foot, that right foot, and bring your right hand into this position. Now more weight forward. Bring your right hand to the floor ahead of your little toe, right underneath your shoulder, so not too far forward or over to the right. Then start to pick up your back foot. Now you can't see that back foot, but try and keep the outside edge, the little toe edge, parallel to the floor, the pinky toe if you're in the States. Then reach the top hand up. Start to turn your belly and your chest. And then possibly look up at that top hand, or don't. You might need to keep earthing your eyes down for stability. Going back to that first chakra, the chakra of survival. Or possibly look up, going more into the flow. Now reverse the process. Bring your hand onto your hip. Bend your front knee deeply. Do look down now. Step back and come up. Good. Okay, now we're going to come down to the floor. Please feel free to repeat half moon pose afterwards as many times as you want, but I want to keep moving forward here. So get your towel or your blanket. If you don't have one, don't worry. This is just to assist you in your seated poses. It's just nice to have that little sort of wedge underneath your bottom there. So please come into cross-legged position with your right leg in front. So we're going to do some really nice seated counter poses now. Bring your left hand down to the floor and bend the elbow and drop your shoulder. Then bring your right arm up and then cross it over your eyes or over your face, in front of your face. And as you reach with that right hand, lean over towards the left. And rather than turning your belly and your chest up towards the ceiling, do the opposite. Actually drop them down towards the floor. And release the right hip. So you're getting some length here in your lower back and all around the outside of your pelvis, all around the right butt, the glute muscles, which have been working so hard in the progression up to half moon. Now come up to center and come forwards. So bring your hands onto your knees and raise your chest. Stay like this. This is actually a forward fold, or come into a more obvious forward fold, bringing your hands to the floor. Let your head hang. This time you'll feel it in different places in that right side. Slightly push your hands forward here if you want to bring your bottom more onto the floor behind you, or you can drag your hands slightly back towards you so that you feel the abdominal muscles engage more. Now come up halfway, engage your abdominal muscles a lot, and then come all the way up. Hands on the floor behind you so you can change the cross of your legs. So now your left leg's in front. Press your feet down. Make sure you've got some space in between your groin and the back of that right calf. And we're going to lean over to the other side. So bring your right hand down in line with your hip. Sweep your left arm over your face and then start to bring your body weight more over to the right side as you defrost that left hip. Drop the left ribs down, look down. So your focus now is less expansive and and widening and exploring, and now you're more earthing and being introspective and slow. Now push your right hand down into the floor so you can bring yourself up. Bring your hands to your knees, raise your heart and come forwards. Slowly. Bring your navel to your spine so your abdominal muscles are toning and supporting this big stretch in the lower back. Keep pressing your feet down as well and back towards your bottom. And then again you can play around with the arms, either push your hands forwards away from you or slightly drag them back so your abs engage more. Play around with this, find what feels good for you now. Be really aware of what feels good, what supports you, what deepens the pose in the most effective way for you. And come up halfway and walk your hands all the way back. Good. Bring your hands to the floor behind you and uncross your legs and move the blanket away. Place this blanket or towel, if you've got one, right next to where your head is going to be in Shavasana. It's not coming quite yet, but it is very soon. So sit in the middle of your mat, bring your elbows down, come all the way down. If you've got a ponytail in, now's a good time to loosen it so it doesn't bother you. Cross your right leg over your left. Push your left foot into the floor so you can pick your bottom up and bring it right over to the right side of your mat, way over. Then pushing your arms down into the floor, pick your feet up off the floor, bend your knees a bit more, and as you draw your knees, or drop your knees rather, down to the left side of the mat, tuck your feet up towards your right hand. I'm getting a bit nerdy about the placement here because it's really nice to come into this twist in a straight line. So from your head, your nose, to the breastbone, to the top of your right hip, to your feet, you're in a straight line. You don't feel like you're wonky. And then you can drop your knees perhaps a little bit more towards the floor. Your right shoulder will come up a little bit here. A nice way to kind of discourage this from happening is to press your left elbow down. You'll feel a lift in the left back ribs. Let that happen. Pick your left ribs up off the floor and then move them a little closer to your left elbow. And then bring your body back down again. And you'll find that the back right ribs drop down to the floor a little bit more, making the twist a little deeper. You have an option here if you want to put your left hand on top of your right thigh, and that will add a little bit more weight. Or just keep your hands on the floor. I was saying to another student just the other day, a good way of knowing whether you want to put your hand on your leg is, did you sleep well last night? And if you didn't, keep both hands on the floor. If you're feeling zesty, then put your hand on your leg. And of course, that also depends on any injuries you might have or how tight you might be feeling, not just in the right hip, but also the right lower back here is getting a nice stretch. Really good counterpose to the strong work we've been doing in half moon and all the other hip openers and stabilizers. Now let's get out of this twist. So if your hand's on your leg, take it off. Push your feet down so you can bring your knees up. Uncross the right leg. Bring the soles of your feet to the floor and shift your bottom back to center. Now cross your left leg over your right. Try not to have any gaps in between your legs here. It's a nice complete cross. Push your right foot down, pick your bottom up and bring it right over to the left side of the mat. And then arrange your feet and move them over to the left and bring your knees to the right. And then arrange your twist as suits you, setting it up more or less the same way that you were doing on the other side. So the right hand can go on the left thigh if you want. You can bring your back right ribs a little closer to your right elbow if you want. Whatever you're doing, make sure that you're finding a place that feels pleasurable, perhaps a little uncomfortable, but not painful. Breathe into that left lower back. Soften your jaw. Be aware of any tightness you might be holding around your mouth and your eyes, and let the mask of your face soften and release. And that should translate down through your neck, your shoulders, your arms, your hands even. There's a little bit of toning going on in your legs here possibly, but try and lengthen and soften wherever you can. Breathing deeply and slowly. We'll hold this for a couple more breaths. Now push your feet down to assist yourself to bring the knees back up again. Take your time, there's no hurry. Uncross the left leg, shift your bottom back to center. Now, coming into full happy baby, pick your feet up off the floor and pick up your head and your shoulders as you bring your arms inside your legs, inside the knees. Then reach with your hands to the outside edges of your feet, the little toe edges, and show the soles of your feet as best you can towards the ceiling and bring your head back down. Draw your knees down towards the sides of your mat as you gently push your feet up towards the ceiling. So really opening up the back of the hips now, the glutes, in a symmetrical way. Soften your shoulders. Coming out of this and into Shavasana, bend your knees, take your hands away, bring your feet to the floor, lengthen your left leg long to the corner of your mat, and then your right leg. Shift yourself around so that you're on the mat well. You haven't got one foot off the mat, or you sort of feel skewy in any way, and try and align yourself straight up and down. Bring the backs of your hands to the floor and make sure that your fingers are really loosely curled. And practice relaxation. Let your muscles and your entire body completely rest and let go. Close your eyes. Let your breathing be very normal and natural. As you stay here, listen to this poem by Anna Sweer. It's called My Body Effervesces. I am born for the second time. I am light, light as the eyelash of the wind. I froth, I am froth. I walk dancing. If I wish, I will soar. The condensed lightness of my body condenses most forcibly in the lightness of my foot and its 5 toes. The foot skims the earth, which gives way like compressed air, an elastic duo of the earth and of the foot, a dance of liberation. I am born for the second time. Happiness of the world came to me again. My body effervesces. I think with my body, which effervesces. If I wish, I will soar. So be aware of this Svadisthana liquid state. Let yourself ooze and relax on the mat. Release. Let go. As you stay here, practice relaxation, and I'll let you know by ringing the bells when it's time to come out. bend your knees, one leg at a time, bringing movement back into your body and the soles of your feet back to the earth. Roll to your right side and stay here. Pause. Now press down with your left hand and then your right hand, bringing yourself up into a seated position. Sit as comfortably as you can, but sit tall. Draw your ears back, slightly lower your chin, close your eyes. And bring your hands into your heart to Anjali Mudra. Turn your fingers towards your face and lower your chin so that your chin makes contact with your fingers, representing the mind, connecting to the body. Now separate your hands, bring your palms down onto your legs and gently press down, connecting more with the earth. Raise your heart, raise your chin, open your eyes. Namaste. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. Please have a look at this playlist up here for some more classes that you might be interested in. And do leave any questions or suggestions in the comments box below here. I love to hear from you. Please do let me know what other classes you would like me to teach, or other poses, or other chakras or themes. And do have a look at my class description below. I've got a lot of other tips and links to other classes, to my Facebook page and so on, where you can get a lot more information on what I have to offer. Thanks again. I hope that you have a wonderful day and take care.